Hello, I'm Richard, and welcome back to my channel over and over and over again, which features everything to do with Arsenal. This is my second live podcast, the positive Arsenal podcast, I call it, because we try and be positive, which is easy at the moment because Arsenal is doing reasonably well for a change. So we can stay positive for the next couple of weeks, hopefully, at least anyway. As you can see, I've got some great guests joining me tonight to go over the first week or so of the new Premier League season and what we've got to come. First of all, Melvin, how you doing, mate? You all right? Thanks for coming on the channel.
Fine, thanks. Thanks for inviting me on. Looking forward to this.
No, it's good. It's always good to chat to you. Of course, Albert from AlbertJTV. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Not bad, mate. It's a pleasure to be on, isn't it? I had to miss last time, unfortunately, but yeah, it's good to be on your channel, man. To support you. Yeah,
you was not available last time, but it's fine. It's good to have you on anyway. And of course, Andrew is becoming a bit of a regular now. He was on last week as well. He's back again from Dull Square.
How are you all? All right. Sorry, your little pun there. Everyone went over.
Yeah, got it. Everything over my head. It's all right. I got it.
Thanks ever so much for having me back on. It's great, and looking forward to it.
Great. Oh, good start. I mean, it's always nice to chat to you guys. We've obviously been on shows together before, haven't we, on various other channels and stuff like that, which is always good. Right, so if we kind of crack on, first of all, I mean, I don't want to spend too long on it really, like the Fulham match from Saturday. Obviously we've all spoken about it on other sort of shows and stuff over the last sort of few days anyway, but just really wanted to look at a couple of things really. First of all, what sort of most impressed you about the performance, and also where do you think we need to maybe improve moving forward, bearing in mind it was Fulham that we played, it wasn't one of the sort of top sides. So if we start with Melvin, what do you think, what sort of impressed you most about Saturday's performance?
I thought our intensity, our speed, our directness, and also just that I felt very relaxed during the whole game, which away from home is very unusual. No matter what team we play, we seem to make hard struggle of it, but this time we didn't. I thought it was just fantastic. I actually enjoyed watching the game from start to finish. And where do we need to improve? We obviously have to improve. Every team's looking to improve, I suppose. But I suppose if I'm being very, very critical, I'd like to get a centre forward. And I'm not having to go at Lacazette because he does so much work, but a clinical centre forward to put any chance we get away. That's what I would really love. Without Aubameyang's goals and a clinical centre forward, we'll be riding very high.
Perhaps Eddie, maybe he's a finisher, isn't he? A 6-yard box. I don't know whether he can maybe do more of a job this season, perhaps in that role. Maybe.
Perhaps, but not at the moment he isn't. But there's hope for the future.
Yeah, I mean, what about yourself? What sort of impressed you most about that on Saturday? Obviously, it was a good win, wasn't it?
It was when I got to actually finally see the game, because I actually missed the game of the day. But it's a nightmare to try and watch it back full 90 minutes anyway. But I think for me, I was impressed, particularly depending on whether we had possession of the ball or possession with and without the ball. We sort of reverted to a back four and sort of a back five. So that was good to see the flexibility, and we pushed up higher in terms of our wing back. So Fulham were really, really penned in. Say probably not even just because of the game on Saturday, but going throughout the whole season. I want to see. Can you hear me, Rich?
Yeah, you just sort of you had a lag going on.
All right. Now, I think the thing I want to for the whole of the season going forward is obviously we've had an issue at Arsenal defensively with set pieces.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So we brought in a new guy. We brought in the guy from Brentford, didn't we? The Swedish guy to come and work with the set pieces, and so hopefully that's something that we will improve on this season, really, because last season we was in the top 2 or 3 for most goals conceded from set pieces. So that does need to change. But I'm generally happy about the performance, though.
I mean, I guess we were fortunate maybe against Fulham. They didn't have a lot of corners and free kicks, really, did they? Because they didn't get near our goal enough, really, game, did they? So we won't really see how the improvements have gone until we maybe face a team that's more going to have more opportunities like that for us, I guess, wouldn't they? What about yourself, Andrew? What sort of impressed you most about Saturday's win?
We just got total control. We never look like we are really in trouble at any part of the game. It's almost like what we're aiming for is like the sort of Ajax total football type of team, whereby the pitch is divided into certain zones, and when one player moves out of one zone, another one takes over into that zone, so to cover each other. It's incredible. I just love the way that we're playing at the moment, and yeah, it's just calm. It's relaxed, like Melvin said. You don't feel stressed anymore, and it's just so encouraging. I can't remember, feeling like that for so many years, whereby I think we could withstand sort of heavy pressure. I don't think that. I mean, we showed against Liverpool at the end of last season, even when we went behind, we don't seem to panic anymore, and nothing. Our heads don't drop. We're always confident. Everyone knows their job inside out already. And even I can't praise someone like Mo Elneny enough. Slotting back into the team, not having played for the club since I think it was April 2019, and just a few weeks coaching under Mikel Arteta. Look at the difference. He's an actual usable, really, pretty good quality midfielder again, and slotted straight back into the team. Didn't put a foot wrong, and just so encouraging, really encouraging. So yeah, it was a great performance, and I think that couple of minutes where there was that bit of a mix-up with Gabriel, I think too much was made of that, really. I mean, literally his first 2 minutes of football after 2 minutes of football in 6 months, I think he hadn't played a competitive game. How long had he had after his lockdown, his quarantine? Well, maybe he had about a week at maximum with the team. Yeah. There's the language gap. He's just moved into a new league. I think too much was made of that. What a debut by him. What a debut by Willian. Both looked like they just slotted into the team seamlessly. So yeah, very encouraging. Really happy.
Yeah, Can I just add something? So sorry, Richard. You're talking about him making that mistake. Sorry, but I hope he goes on to have a parallel career like another Arsenal great had in his first game, who made a mistake the first time the ball come to him. Yeah, Richard?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Tony Adams?
Yeah. No, Vieira. When he come on the sub, the ball went under his foot. Yeah. Went for a throw. But he got a little bit better after that.
Do you know what was...
Was he?
So I was going to say, do you know what was really encouraging about Gabriel as well? Is that it didn't affect him in the slightest. He could have made him really quite nervous after that, but he didn't care.
I personally thought that was maybe a bit of a language barrier. I don't know whether he heard a call from Leno behind him to leave it, or maybe he misunderstood the communication, and he sort of left the ball for Leno, didn't he? Leno clearly wasn't ready to take it, and I just think it was more of that than anything else, wasn't it? I just think the communication. He doesn't speak English properly yet, does he? Maybe he had a problem understanding what was going on, and it was early in the game and stuff. So yeah, the fact he recovered from it as well as he did.
Heard some people say as well that the pitch was heavily watered, and that the ball wasn't running truly, and it sort of ran quite slowly as well, which also affected it. So yeah, I just think he recovered from that brilliantly, and he looks like a very, very good defender. Very good defender.
But it's certainly a good start. I mean, he couldn't have done much better, could he, really, for a debut? Getting a goal and performing the way that he did was fantastic. I mean, elsewhere, obviously last weekend, it was the first weekend of the new season. I know not everybody played due to various other sort of reasons, but I mean, what were your highlights of that opening weekend? I mean, obviously, apart from us being top of the league and playing so well, I mean, what was your sort of highlights?
There's only one. There's only one. That's too obvious. Spurs. I mean, oh my God, relegation threatened Spurs.
Well, yeah, obviously that was quite enjoyable as well, wasn't it? I mean, what about yourself, Mervyn? What were your sort of highlights of the weekend, obviously, except for our game?
Sorry, me.
Sorry.
Yeah, you, mate.
I'll speak then. Sorry. My one was I was out in the garden on Sunday. Lovely day. Getting some raising, and then my son phoned me. He said, "Have you seen what's happening here? What's the matter? Spurs are getting beat. It's 20 minutes to go. You got to watch it." So I went inside, and I was so bored, but so happy to be bored. It was unbelievable. It really was.
Yeah, it was good that they were so terrible as well. I mean, it wouldn't have been so good. I mean, I saw about them losing, but when they lose and they play that badly, it's even better. Unfortunately,
they could still be playing now.
They managed to scrape through tonight, didn't they? In the Europa League with against a team that has like 9 players or something. But anyway, I mean, it's quite funny what's going on there, really. But what about yourself, Al? What was your sort of highlight of the weekend? I know you didn't watch a lot in the end.
Yeah, I you know what I mean, because I remember when I did one. I think I did one of a slot on my channel. You messaged me saying about you missed the Everton game, and you know what? I think with Tottenham, and this goes back to probably last season as well. Some of the football under Mourinho. I mean, listen. We're not even Tottenham fans, but it was tedious. And yeah, people might say it was the first game of the season, but I was sort of looking at more a point of how Everton are going to do, because the biggest issue for them last season was their midfield. And I know Ancelotti wasn't happy with them. So they bought Allen, they bought Doucouré, who we've been singing his praises from since day dot.
Yeah.
I mean 20 million for a guy who's got Premier League experience. For Arsenal it's a no-brainer, but it is what it is. But James Rodriguez, he had a fantastic World Cup, 2014. Had a good first year at Real Madrid, but after that it's been tough for him playing under different managers and systems. But even in that game, you saw the snippets and bits of quality that he potentially has and is going to be really, really good this season. The way he falls in between the pockets and between the strikers and the midfield. So it'd be interesting to see how they get on. And I actually think Dominic Calvert-Lewin will have quite a decent season this season. He did all right towards the back end before the pandemic and the lockdown, but it'd be interesting to see how he gets on this season, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, actually. But Everton was very, very impressive. I thought Spurs were for the taking, actually. I thought 1-0 flattered Tottenham.
Yeah, shame we're not playing them this week or next couple of weeks. But that's still all over the shop. But anyway, I'm sure we'll still beat them when we do play them. What about yourself, Andy? What was your sort of highlight, obviously, apart from Tottenham losing, which I know we all enjoyed?
Leeds. Watching Leeds and... I think they're going to be a lot of people's second favourite team this year, and I weren't far off from my prediction of them beating Liverpool. I think it could have gone either way, couldn't it? Really, and they've got no fear. They just took the game to Liverpool, and it was just. The first half especially was just. It was fantastic. It's like watching a game of FIFA or something. That kids are playing. It's like goals going in left, right, and centre. So yeah, I think they're going to be. Very entertaining. They're going to let in some goals, but you can't do anything but just admire the way they play, such an attacking style. So that was a really good game, and I was really impressed with Everton, but I'm going to hold back on the James Rodriguez. I'd love to see him in about once he's got about 10 games under his belt.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Tottenham was so poor, and they've made some really good buys. Everton, they really have for a change. Yeah. Looks like they haven't wasted their money, but I'd like to see them against some better opposition because Tottenham offered absolutely nothing. I listened to a TIFO football podcast today. Just reviewing the weekend, and one of the presenters on that, I don't know if you ever heard that podcast, really, really good. And one of the presenters is a Tottenham fan, and he could not have been more scathing about his own team. And the other presenter as well went on for a good 5 minutes or so, just saying just exactly how poor they were. And you don't often hear, a top podcast that's not related to any specific club slate a team as much as they did. It was actually hilarious to listen to. But yeah, otherwise, I'm just going to look forward to watching a few Leeds matches this year because I think they were very, very good, really good. But I think the other two, Fulham and West Brom, I think you might as well say that they're down already. And West Ham again, what a shambles!
That was really poor, really, really poor.
They're going to go. I think they're going to go down. I really do.
It was a bad start. No, go on, man. We'll carry on. Yeah.
You're saying about the first game of the season, how bad they were, but they played like it was the last game of the season. There was no energy. There was nothing there. And I'll tell you something, Wolves have got a decent little team. You've got to mention Wolves. You've got to mention Everton, our resurgence. They may not finish in the top 8 or 9, Spurs, this year. They could really struggle. And they need Europe more than we need Europe.
Newcastle have made some good signings. They don't look a bad side when they've got everybody fit and available. They've got some good players as well. So, yeah, I think Tottenham need to back their... Well, they don't need to back their ideas up, but from their point of view, they need to if they're going to even challenge in the top 8, really. They did look very poor, didn't they?
Well, do you know what? The best thing will be, because they're going to... it looks like they're going to swap Dele Alli as part exchange for Gareth Bale. And it'd just be hilarious if they bring back Gareth Bale and he just gets injured in the first match, because you can just see it happening, can't you? And he'll be out for a few months.
And it's a possibility. It's a possibility. He's got 2 and a bit years. It's been very, very niggling injuries he's had. So it is a calculated risk, like they said.
Absolutely. And I just really pray for that, because that would just be fantastic.
Well, so we all clearly are enjoying Tottenham at the moment, anyway, which is always good.
Rich, you make a good point. Rich, you make a good point about Newcastle done some really smart business actually getting Callum Wilson, because people were sort of nailed on him going Villa. It would have been sort of going back home, and he didn't go, and then they got in Jamal Lewis. So I wouldn't have minded at Arsenal, to be honest, if it was a backup left back.
Yeah, you've mentioned him a few times in the past. Yeah.
Because Liverpool linked with him, but they opted for the other guy. Costa Simicast, I think they bought instead. So, and touching on Leeds quickly, it'd be interesting to see how they get on for the rest of the season, just because obviously when they sort of faltered in coming up to the Premier League in the last couple of years, people put it down to the fact that Bielsa plays such a high pressing game that the players were just knackered. So by the time, I don't know how they're going to maintain that, but to be honest, I think they will play the same way. I don't think they can compromise. A lot of teams come up from the Championship. Obviously, Bournemouth got found out last season, but they came up with a philosophy of playing quite attacking football, and they sort of got away with it. But it caught up with them last season, and obviously they got relegated. But, not too many teams come up from the Championship into the Premier League and go on the front foot and stay up. So it'd be interesting to see how they get on.
I mean, it's not compromise.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened a bit. You've had Sheffield United, obviously, last season, Wolves as well. Yeah. They came up and kind of went for it, didn't they? And they had good seasons. I can see Leeds doing similar sort of to what they've done, actually. I think they'll be mid-table round about that sort of area of the league this year, I think. I mean, it's still early days and we'll see, but I get that feeling from them, the way that they're set up, the way the players that they've got, the way that they play. But I suppose the Premier League is a different level, isn't it? It's what they're used to. Something like you said, the intensity that they play at might prove to be difficult to maintain for 90 minutes against. I mean, they did it against Liverpool. I know they conceded at the end a penalty, but they obviously managed 87 minutes against Liverpool brilliantly.
Gutted.
It gives up hope, doesn't it, for the next 2 weeks' time, or next week actually, isn't it? Next Monday when we play Liverpool. Yeah.
Well, they're just like they are very fallible at the back, aren't they? Liverpool, they're really fallible.
I mean, funny enough, the best defender this weekend wasn't Van Dijk for a change, was it? It was one of our defenders, the best defender of the weekend. Yeah. Van Dijk actually looked like one of our old defenders that we've.
He looked like Dick Van Dijk.
No, he did, yeah. But yeah,
hello, Mary Poppins. Hello, Ben.
But I mean, talking about
the old bamboo.
We're playing West Ham, of course, aren't we, on Saturday? Yes. Which they've not had a great start to the season. I know they won the other night in the League Cup, didn't they? Beat Charlton, as you'd expect them to, really. I mean, obviously, Arsenal and West Ham got quite a long history of certainly sort of top flight meetings over the last sort of 20, 30 years. Just sort of really want to know some memories that you might have from sort of previous games against West Ham, especially at home, at Highbury and stuff like that. I mean, Melvin, you must have a few, mustn't you?
Of recent times, when we demolished them with Bergkamp and Overmars. I think it was a 3-0 half time. I think we beat them 4-0, or was it even 4-0 half time? Overmars and Bergkamp were on a different level. The understanding between the two of them. That for me was a great result. And I actually went when we beat them 6-1 in the 70s. We had Brian Kidd got a hat trick. I went to that game as well. God, dear, that was everything we shot went in. You know what I mean? It's one of those games where. But I've got to tell you a funny story with me away at West Ham. Right? I might have told you before. If Andrew, you've heard it, I'll apologise. I got taken by work from someone from work, a mate of mine, who's a West Ham supporter. He says, got these really good seats. It was near the end of the season. Do you want to come? I said, of course I'll come. So I went straight from work, had a suit on and tie and all that, absolutely wonderful. He had these seats, lower tier, but you can get a drink before the game. So we had a couple of drinks, went out, sat down, and Petrovic was playing for us. Do you remember him? Petrovic? Yeah. He was playing. It was his.
That blinder, didn't he? He's got
yeah. I loved him, but he didn't make it with us. I loved it. I think it was with the season. Anyway, in the first minute, he got the ball, beat the back, crossed it, and Brian McDermott went in and scored. I stood up and went, yeah. And I realised I was the only person cheering. So I stood up and went, offside linesman. And that saved me. That saved me to this day. Because I tell you what, the women there had tattoos. You know what I mean? It was like, wow. Just sit there, keep quiet and watch the game.
Yeah, no, it used to be getting back to the station sometimes after the game used to be fun, didn't it? Going back to the actual park and coming out of the ground, especially a night game. There used to be fun at games. Sometimes. What about yourself, Albert? What sort of memories have you got of playing against West Ham, games against West Ham?
Oh, I mean, our record's pretty good against them, to be honest with you. I was checking it the other day. I think they've not. I think with West Ham, and I think West Ham fans can argue this till the cows come home, but they only turn up for the home games against the top team. The other games, they either don't play very well or they don't. They just don't. They only turn up for the big games. But I remember I don't know this game, when we played them. I think we played them Boxing Day away, 2013. I think we won 3-1 away to. I think it's on Boxing. Definitely Boxing Day.
Walcott scored.
Cazorla scored a scorcher from that box outside.
That's right. Yeah, beautiful goal.
I think it's definitely 3-1 we won. I remember that. Yeah, just brilliant. I remember that. Just brilliant performance. And but I'm confident, obviously, going into Saturday because our home record is pretty deep. I don't think West Ham have beaten us at home. It must be about 5 years or so.
Since Petr Cech's debut, first game of the season.
It's been a while, yeah. So, if it had been away to West Ham, I might have looked. Yeah, if it had been away to West Ham, I might have looked at it a bit differently. But I think because it's at home, and even going back to last season when we was awful away to West Ham, we lost 1-0. I mean, we've had some bad performances in recent years to think, Jesus Christ, what's happening? But that was very, very poor. And we deserve to be honest. We made West Ham look like world beaters. Was that Declan Rice's first goal? Was it for West Ham or something?
Yeah, that was 2 seasons ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to think who's got their goal now. Yeah, but yeah, and we played West Ham. Actually, it was the last game before the pandemic break, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I don't know how we won that game, to be honest.
They should have beaten us.
Yeah, they should have beaten us easily. Yeah. And we got the goal through the VAR. Mesut Ozil assist. I forgot. I forgot what an assist looks like from Mesut Ozil, but yeah.
Last game he played. That was
for a while, yeah. So we should have lost that game, but no, I'm confident we'll beat West Ham. To be honest, I would have said it at any stage of the season, not just because we've come back to start a new season or during the halfway through the season. I'm confident we'll get the 3 points on Saturday. To be honest with you.
Yeah, we've got a good record against West Ham. What about yourself, Andrew? What are your sort of memories of playing West Ham over the years? You must have seen a few.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of one that really stands out.
Do you remember the one when Kenny Sampson scored at Highbury? Probably towards the end of his Arsenal career. We beat him 1-0. Late goal, Kenny Sampson scored. He first goal he'd scored for about 4 years, and he was going mad in front of the North Bank. That was good. I remember that against him.
I don't remember that. I'm trying to think of one that really stands out. I mean, we have got just a really good record against them. Yeah. Like you said last season, it was unbelievable that we won that one last season. Yeah, it was what's their big strong forward? Mikhail. Yeah. He missed one from literally about 2 foot out, didn't he? Yeah. Like just unbelievable miss. I seem to remember one where I'm getting my games wrong, but I seem to remember one where Lee Dixon scored for us at Highbury, and I'm trying to think of what it was. But yeah, this game coming up though, I've never been more confident about winning a game. I mean, I was confident against Fulham, but I will be quite. I'll be quite bold and say I reckon we could get 4 or 5 this weekend. They have never been in such disarray, and all behind the scenes as well, with what's been going on with their players, all sort of absolutely going mad about that sale of that young kid to West Brom.
Yeah.
But apparently, I heard. I don't know whether this is true or not, but I heard that Karen Brady, after all that sort of kicked off, because David Moyes was also not happy about it, and Karen Brady actually said to him, "Well, don't worry, you're getting sacked at the end of the season anyway, if not before."
Wow.
Today, I mean, that's a way to build morale, isn't it? You know,
wow.
I mean, that whole club is a shambles.
It is a mess
at the moment.
Absolute mess.
I mean, they've got players. They're in a similar position to us, but even worse, whereby they buy all these players. I mean, they've got a collection of about 25 attacking forwards and sort of slash wingers and number 10s, don't they? They just keep finding them down the back of the sofa that they bought 3 years ago for 40 million, and they've made about 2 appearances, but they're all on high salaries and they can't get rid of any of them. So they're in a real mess, and if they don't finish in the bottom 3, they'll be very lucky, I think.
I'll just put it in a long season. They've tended to have these issues before, and then they've sort of pulled together and survived, haven't they? So we'll see. I mean, I guess it is, it's probably a good time for us to be playing them, if we're honest, with the problem that they've got at this moment in time, and the fact that we started the season so well. I mean, in terms of the lineup, do you think that Arteta's going to make many changes from the Fulham game, Melvin? What do you think? Do you think he's going to be a similar team?
I hope he picks a similar team, because the whole team have got momentum, and I think the only thing that can beat us on Saturday is complacency.
Yeah.
If we have the mindset, we got to just go for the jugular, forget who we're playing, just go for it, play our own football. We worry about their danger men if they got any, but just play our own football and do what we normally do. Over a period of time, we are going to beat them. And if we suddenly sit back and go, you know what, this is easy, then we let a goal in, heads might drop. I haven't yet when we've gone behind, but if we go behind to a team that's low, our heads drop quicker. It's like the expectancy. So, as I say, I've got every confidence we will win. A manager will keep them on side, and I'm very, very, very confident.
Yeah, well, hopefully, I totally agree with you. I mean, Albert, do you think he's going to make any changes to the starting 11, or do you think it'll be pretty much the same team that started against Fulham?
Melvin makes a good point, what he just said about the complacency. I think I'd go even a bit further. Obviously, towards the back end of last season, when we came up against the bigger sides, or the sides that were going to have more of the ball, it was a bit easier for us to sort of hit them on the counter. But Melvin makes a good point. If we go behind, for example, have we got the creativity to break teams down, which was a bit of an issue towards the back end of last season? I actually think it will be the same team. I think because this season's a bit different than normal, and the run of games that are going to come up a bit quicker than normal, you're going to get a nucleus of teams that you might have 7 or 8, probably 6, 7 or 8 players that will start most weeks, but they'll rotate around 3 or 4 different positions. But I would be surprised if it's not the same team that started against Fulham that starts against West Ham. I think also, just before you probably comes to Andrew, but I think when we played towards the end of last season, obviously Arteta went to a back 3 because of he's giving up too many shots and try and make us a bit more defensively solid. I think even coming into this season, if you look at the centre-backs we have, in terms of particularly the 2 new recruits, and you could probably add Pablo Mari towards that as well, there's flexibility there to go throughout the whole season playing a back 3 or playing a flat back 4, because you got Gabriel hadn't even played in a back 5, as far as I'm aware. But he's obviously shown the flexibility to play there just within one game, which is positive going through towards the season. But there's flexibility there. So, yeah, I'd expect the same team, Rich, to be honest, mate.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect too many changes. What about yourself, Andrew? Do you think he'll throw any different... Ceballos, bearing in mind, sort of back now,
I was going to say, yeah, that's possibly the only change I would see is Ceballos coming in from the start. But it'd be harsh on Moel Neni, but I would see that we're going to get a lot of the ball, and I could see that Ceballos could be pushed a bit more forward and he's got that little bit extra to open up their defence, isn't he? And Willian is, I think, it's clear to see that. Excuse me. Apologies. He didn't play on the wide right very often at all against Fulham. He was very central a lot of the time, Willian, and I think that he's going to be a secret weapon to unlock these defences against the lower sides that we struggled against last season, and I think he could be a big difference. It's a shame, though. It's a real shame that we're not going to see Pepe quite as much, because I thought he was really coming into his own towards the end of last season. And like I said before, he was the man of the match in the FA Cup final for me. He played brilliantly, Pepe. I struggled to see how he's going to get into the side regularly at the moment, because he's not going to take Willian out at the moment. He played far too well against Fulham. He's definitely going to keep his place. So it's a bit of a shame, but I'm not complaining, because we're playing brilliantly. But I would see that Ceballos may come in and play have a little bit more freedom to move forward against West Ham, just to have a little bit of extra trickery. I mean, you can see that filthy the nutmeg he did, and the sort of the back heel when he came on. He should have got a booking for that. It was just, it was unfair against that Fulham player. He's got to go home to his children and just, but that might make the difference, against a really low block. So, but the great thing is as well, we've actually got height in the team now as well.
Yes.
So, it's an extra thing to have for the set pieces. I mean, Willian, it's going to be hard to say who's going to be the best free kick taker and corner taker between Willian and Pepe now, isn't it? I mean, they're both lethal. So now we've got also, just one other thing. I think Rob Holding's performance went really unnoticed against Fulham. I think he had a really good game. Overshadowed because of the two debutants we had, and Gabriel scoring. But that Gabriel goal, I don't know if you noticed, it was a lot down to Rob Holding, the way that he was roughing up and moving around the goalkeeper. If you watch it back, it was obviously because of this set piece guy. Yeah. We overloaded the penalty box with all our tallest players, and we never did that before. We hardly had anyone in the box, but we had all our tallest players, and Rob Holding was sort of made this special move around the goalkeeper to stop him from doing anything, basically, and got in his way and and it looked like it was like a planned thing to me.
It might be that new guy that Albert mentioned doing this.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Wilson, yeah.
That's exactly what I mean. I think that it's going to make a big difference. And I said this last week, didn't I, Rich? If this guy that's come in makes... Because we, like you said, Albert, we let in about, I think it was 16 goals from set pieces last season, which was probably one of the worst in the league. Yeah. Just say we can cut that down by 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And also, on the alternative side, score maybe an extra 4 or 5 goals. That's a difference of like 3 or 4 places up the table.
Yeah, 100%.
And if we're paying that guy $300,000 a year, I mean, whatever. I mean, just the prize money alone, just from the difference in the league position, that would make... It's a few million quid. It's a really good bit of management by Mikel Arteta, because if he sees it as a bit of a weakness from his side, from coaching set pieces, and he decides to bring someone in like that. I mean, that's great management. Delegation. Brilliant. So that sort of thing could make those little differences could make a massive difference this season. So but I think the possible, going back, like I said before, I mean, I could see the same team, but potentially Ceballos coming in instead of El Neni.
Well, that Holding run, he made the run that got the corner.
Holdinho.
Yeah. They reckon he's going to get a call up now, the rumour, for Brazil.
Yeah, exactly. Holdinho. He's definitely...
Yeah.
I don't
know how true it is. It's a rumour.
I said this towards the end of last season, right? And remember, I was going on and on about Rob Holding because I've always backed him, and I've always said he needs a good run of games. And I was going on about that, and I said that if he could do that and get a good run in the team, and I'm being serious about this, next summer, I think he should be playing for England. I mean, I can't see a better centre back than him at the moment for the England team. But I think all the ones that are being picked, Michael Keane, Slabhead, John Stones, none of them are as good as Rob Holding when he's in full flown on form.
Maguire,
I think the only... Sorry, Rich, go on.
I mean, I'd say the only thing about Rob Holding I would say is I thought he did play well last week against Fulham. But apparently I've heard rumours that West Ham are trying to get him on loan. Yeah. Now, if that's true, would we want to play him against West Ham just before he was to go and sign for him on loan? I don't know whether or not that he might not be able to play if that's the case. I don't know if this is true or whether it's going to happen. I know Arteta wants to keep it.
That won't happen.
But is he going to play much though? When everyone's fit at the back, when Saliba's playing, when David Luiz is back, Pablo Mari, obviously Gabriel, is Holding going to get a lot of game time? Maybe not. And if he's not, he might be better off going on loan and getting games regularly in the Premier League. For the best for him for his career going forward. If he's not going to play much this season, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's true this room, but I have heard it that West Ham apparently are trying to get him. So if that is the case, I'm not sure whether or not he'll pick him to play against them straight away before he might go and play for him. I'm not sure about that. That might
Mikel Arteta said categorically, he went up to him and said, "You ain't going anywhere. Change your mind. You ain't going anywhere. You're stopping here," didn't he?
More or less, basically, yeah. Yeah,
and also,
and we've got too many injuries at the moment to allow that to happen.
The point I was going to make: why do it now? We've got all these centre half. If it was like halfway through the season, January time, and then we think about doing it. That makes a bit of sense when we've got settled back, like 4 or 5 centre halves that can play. But not now. Yeah. I mean, another injury, and we'll have to play our second goalkeeper at centre half. No, that can't happen, mate.
Play Matt Major.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I want to say a quick point about Rob Holding. Now, take your point about, you make a good point, Andrew, about the other centre backs that have probably been given opportunities for England. But I think the issue with Rob Holding, I'm not sure Rob Holding make it at Arsenal personally. I've said that in plenty of my content before. But I think what the thing is holding back Rob Holding is, I looked at his career appearances, like league appearances in 4 years. He's had just it's under 70 games.
I know. I mean, he's been ravaged by injury.
He's had so many injuries. It's just. So
that's what I mean about he needs a really good run of games to get his fitness and to get his form, confidence. But I think if that happens, and it might not be for Arsenal, it might not be for Arsenal. I'm not saying that he should start for Arsenal, even if he went to another club. I still think he's a really good defender. I don't think there's many better English defenders out there at the moment.
But there's been a change when he came back from being injured before the lockdown. He couldn't hit a 2-yard pass. His confidence was shot to pieces.
It was.
And you look at him and think, this guy should not wear the Arsenal shirt again as a liability. And then he had the break. He came back and he's a different player. So he's got his confidence. Let's hope to see how far he can go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really want the best for the guy because I really like him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It might not be for Arsenal, like I said, but I do think he's a really good defender.
Yeah, no, he's definitely got a lot of it. And maybe the fact he's not played that many games because of injuries means that his career can maybe go on a little bit longer. He's not going to get burned out like some of the younger players. And maybe his career can kind of start now and he can really push on. And like you said, whether it's with us or not, I don't know. I don't know how much game time he'll get this season. But I can see the potential in him. I just feel as though maybe the system we want to play maybe isn't necessarily best suited for his attributes, maybe. Playing it out back and all that kind of stuff. I don't think that's his strength, is it really? I think he's a good defender, I agree. But I think maybe with the ball at his feet, he's not quite as comfortable as some of the other defenders that we've got. And because that's how we want to play, I think that might necessarily come back.
But he juggles it. He juggles it right down the pitch. But anyway, one last point on Rob Holding. If he does get into the England squad for the Euros next year, and he's losing his hair, I really want him to get one of those comb overs so he actually looks up Bobby Charlton or Jackie Charlton during the tournament. That'd be amazing. Because we're bound to win it then.
It would be great, yeah. Or maybe just get a wig or something, or do a Wayne Rooney, get a transplant or whatever. That won't matter.
No, just get one of those the wavy comb overs. That'd be amazing.
We haven't had one of them for a while, have we? Playing for England, so that'd be nice.
No, but you should bring it back into fashion.
Andrew, do you remember Ralph Coates?
Yes,
He used that one of those, didn't he?
He did.
The old wind.
Yeah, I remember.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
They should be brought back into fashion. The old comb over, yeah, definitely.
It's the way forward, definitely. I mean, obviously, we're talking about sort of transfers and stuff. Obviously, with Rob Holding, we have obviously lost one player this week, haven't we? Emi Martinez gone to Aston Villa. It sort of was mentioned quite a lot in the last sort of week or so. 20 million for him, I think, is actually quite a good price when you think for 10 years he hardly played. He's had a few good games, and suddenly we've got 20 million for him. So I actually think we've done some good business there, and I wish him luck myself. I don't know what you guys think about him leaving. Whether you thought maybe you wanted him to stay. I mean, what do you think, Melvin, about Martinez going for 20 million?
Number one, I don't think it's a great price. I know that we've got 20 million more than we would have got 6 months ago, but things change. He's a completely different player than he was 6 months ago. So you can't always say that. It's like saying a youngster costs you nothing, and 2 years later he's knocking in all these goals, so we've made all this money. Well, no, don't sell him cheap. He might be good for you for the future. I would have preferred, I know it's a bit silly, people might think, to sell Leno. Number one, you get more money for him. And number two, I think Martinez, on current form, is a better goalkeeper. His attributes outweigh Leno's attributes. He's much better in the air. He's bigger. He's stronger. When the ball gets shot at him, he catches the ball or he stops it. He doesn't push it out. Everything about him, there's not one thing I'm not going to go at Leno. Look, he's between us, he's our goalkeeper. Fantastic. But it was a seesaw decision. I would have let Leno go. It wasn't going to happen because I don't think they ever dreamt of that happening in Arsenal. They were not going to do that. They see Leno as the future. But this Martinez, just every game he played, he did something. I thought, God, that's unbelievable. Even coming out of players, his size used to put on. You look at the Liverpool game, he put off players. Well, that split second coming out, that little bit of difference, the guy sees you coming out, a bit of your eye, a split second you stop, you don't score. And he did that so many times. So I was just a bit disappointed. Listen, I think I'm turning the tables on this. I think Aston Villa have got a fantastic goalie for 20 million. You think what Chelsea have spent and all these other clubs have spent on big goalkeepers, and they're nowhere near, in my opinion, as good as him. So I think, we might have done okay because it was worth nothing 6 months ago. But I think the people that Villa buying a goalkeeper like that for 20 million, I think they've done quite well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
17 million with 3 million add-ons if they stay up, apparently, which is a bargain.
If you win the league, you mean, we get another 3 million?
No, if they stay, I think it's if they stay up, funnily enough. However, people are forgetting that they've got Tom Heat in there as well. So I just hope. Yeah, I know, but I mean, I hope for Emmy's sake that he's not going to start losing his place to Tom Heaton as well, because people gutted for the bloke. But that, I mean, he put a 10 minute video out for to say goodbye to all the Arsenal fans, and he actually requested to do that himself, and I can't deny that I'm absolutely gutted to see him go. But one good thing is that we haven't spent a lot of money to replace him. If this Icelandic guy does come in, which it looks like he very much is, then we've only spent like a million and a half quid on him, which I'm quite happy about, because that's good business. And the new goalkeeping coach, who's another brilliant signing that we brought in, he has worked with him before and he recommended him, so that's good enough for me. Because he's very fussy, this guy, this goalkeeping coach, and so if he's recommended him, then I'm happy with that. So I'm just glad we've only spent £1 million to replace Emmy, because it means that we've obviously got the rest to put towards, another signing to strengthen the squad. But yeah, I can't deny I'm gutted that he's gone.
I mean, all I'd want to say really about Martinez is I think that what's happened is Arteta's. He was fortunate maybe that he got his chance after lockdown, when Arteta had a chance to work with the team, speak to the players and make the team more defensively solid. I think if Martinez had played at the start of the season under Emery, when we were getting opened up, when Leno was making all them saves, I don't know whether Martinez would have been as good as he was later in the season. I think the defensive stability of the team really helped him massively. Now, playing for Aston Villa, are they going to be as defensively solid in front of him? I don't think they are. And I think he's going to be exposed a lot more in the way Leno was early in last season for us. And it'll be interesting to see how he deals with that because he's still a very inexperienced goalkeeper. At the end of the day, he put some good performances in for us, but he's very for his age. For 28, he's hardly played a game, has he? Really, at the top level, he played about 30 games for Arsenal, and a lot of them were in the League Cup and the Europa League and stuff like that. He didn't play many Premier League games, so I think he was fortunate that he came in at the time that he did, when the team were more defensively solid. And it'd be interesting for me to see how he copes at Aston Villa when there might be shots raining down at his goal, especially in certain away games that they'll play when they're going to probably get opened up quite a lot. So, good luck to him. I'm a bit disappointed that he's gone, but I think we've made if we had to sell one of the goalkeepers, I believe we've made the right choice. I think Leno was the number one. I think he is the number one. And I think he deserves to be number one for the performances over the last 2 years. What do you think about that, Albert? Do you think that it was the right decision that we made? For 20 million as well.
Firstly, this is such a great debate. We've had debates about Arsenal players over the years where you've got people annihilating each other on social media, but I think he's the one player, Martinez, where I share what the guys say, because I see what Melvin's saying in terms of the money thing. Because if COVID didn't happen and we was to sell him, we definitely would have got more money than the 20 million. And I'm not sniffing at the 20 million either. But I think for me, I said this before, Rich, on other channels, I would have gone into this new season with him as number one. Melvin makes a great point. He's more commanding. He's a massive unit of a goalkeeper. I didn't realise he was that tall. He's about 6'3". He commands the box brilliantly. Even some of the games, the back end of last season, where he literally had nothing to do, but when he was called upon, concentration-wise, first class. And Andrew make a good point about the video the video that he left. Now, I don't know too many footballers in my time. You guys see more football than I have, but even football generally, where a player who is leaving but hasn't technically left yet, sitting in the Arsenal training kit, giving a video about his time at Arsenal. When I even troll through some of the messages on that Arsenal Facebook page thing, right? Normally you get one idiot that says something stupid, but I couldn't find any. He even had a Spurs fan comment on the page. I saw the comment. He said, even for a Spurs fan, I respect the guy totally. A lot of clubs would, in that position, would make it as difficult as possible for a player to leave the club. But it was a brilliant interview, and he's right. You get some of these players that leave Arsenal when they go on Instagram or Twitter and say, we thank the fans. But this one felt a bit different. So I wish him all the best. He's going to have a lot of work to do at Villa, but I would have liked to see him stay. But I said also as well, I personally feel, I don't know what you guys think, I think we was the only club in the Premier League to have two goalkeepers that should be number ones. Chelsea can't say the same thing. Man City can't say the same thing. Chelsea can't say the same thing. Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
We was fortunate, unfortunate, whatever way you want to look at it, that we had two goalkeepers that are number ones. And I take the point that Martin has been at Arsenal for 10 years plus and 6 low moves. And I know when he's at Reading in the Championship, they was gutted that he left them and come back to Arsenal. And he took his opportunity off the back of Leno's misfortune, but he wasn't just good or okay when he came in. He was absolutely outstanding. So I get the Arsenal fan base, why they feel the way they feel. I know people saying, we should have got 25, 30 plus million for him, but that wouldn't probably have happened about 3, 4, 5 months ago. And to be honest, going into
100 career games in 10 years, that doesn't make worth more than 20 million to me, no matter how good the last 10 of those games were. I don't feel that his career for 10 years he's justified any more than 20 million. So I think we've got to for him.
But I do. It's a good debate, Rich. You know what I mean? So I see both sides of the argument, and
it is a great debate.
And I hope he keeps them up. To be honest with you.
I'm just a little bit disappointed that he didn't want to stay and fight for his place, because it would have been interesting to see, because like you said, we had 2 first choice goalkeepers or 2 goalkeepers that could become first choice. And it would have been interesting to see exactly how that would have panned out over the season, because no doubt the second choice goalkeeper would have got games in the League Cup, in the Europa League. performed well, and then you never know, they get an opportunity in the Premier League. So it's a shame maybe that he didn't, but maybe Arteta spoke to him and said, look, Leno's the number one, you're going to play in the cup games, and that's the situation. And maybe he just thought, I want to play regular Premier League football. And you can understand why he wants to, of course. You know,
of course.
He's for his chance, hasn't he, to do that? And, you know, he performed well when he came in. So, I mean, I wish him good luck. And I think, personally, for me, I think we got a good deal for him. And like Andrew said, we're not spending much on his replacement. So we've got a bit of more money coming in. And talking about that, obviously, there's a few more players that maybe might be on their way out. XTRA seems to be the next one, possibly. On his way out, doesn't it? I think there's a few bids from Italy coming in for him. I don't know what we feel about that. Melvin, what do you think about XTRA going? Do you think that would be a good thing to do now? Get rid of him?
It's a good thing to do, because if we're going to replace, we're going to get more midfielders, there'll be less chance for him. And he's not a starter at the moment with the midfield that we've got. I think we've got to cut our cloth accordingly. We can't afford to buy every player and keep every player. And he, in all seriousness, He's a very good footballer. He's got a good football brain, but I don't think he's strong enough for the Premiership. When he first came here, it was fantastic. He was really playing well. He got slightly injured, and then people got the idea, all we've got to do with this guy is keep knocking him off the ball, keep physically knocking. It's not a foul, knocking him off the ball. And he went down to the ground, not a big guy. There's very few players of that stature that can actually make it in the Premiership. The only one you can think of is the Chelsea midfielder, who we didn't think was good enough a couple of years ago, that came from Leicester. But I hope he has a great career as well, wherever he goes, if he goes. But we can afford to let him go. And definitely we could do with the money.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, what about yourself, Albert? Do you think that it's the right thing maybe now to move him on?
100%. And you know why I say that? Because even after his first season, he did okay under Emery, but to me, there was too many. He was obviously homesick, and that's been put in the public domain for quite a while now. There was just too many rumours linking him back to Italy with various clubs. Probably for quite a while, to be honest with you. This is not knee jerk or something new to XTRA. So Melvin makes a good point. Physically, I'm not sure he's sort of up to it in terms of that. But what can you do? He's the size that he is. But if Arsenal keep telling us as fans that or the media reports, whatever, that we have no money, then we need to. I mean, I think rumoured about it's going to be a year's loan, isn't it, with an option to buy? I believe, or taking about probably a 4 million hit in total if it does happen. We're talking about £22 million figure, but if we're looking to improve the squad, and I've said this before. When Arteta came in and obviously improved some of the players, I was thinking to myself, but we can't want to sort of keep some of the same players that have been here for 3-4 plus years, but then want to add more quality to it. We'll have a squad of about 300. So we need to move some of these players on. You can't, I'm not really a sentiment person, if I'm being honest, but I want the best for the club. And if it means moving some of these guys on, he wants to go back to Italy. That to me is obvious. So let him go.
Yeah, no, I agree. Andrew, you feel the same about XTRA?
Yeah. Just a couple of things very, very quickly. I've just put on the in the messages. There's a link to a podcast that's the Graham Hunter Big Interview podcast that he did recently with Emi Martinez, and it's a really good listen. So just have a listen to that, because it just shows you the character of the guy, his backstory, and why he is playing football and why he was so desperate to achieve. And it's just a brilliant interview. So it's only relatively short. But I've just put the link into the comments. So have a listen to that, because I recommend it. And the last thing about Emi Martinez is that I think regarding the sale, as painful as it is, he didn't cost us anything. So everything we got for him is all profit.
Yeah.
So if we'd have sold Leno, it's not all profit, is it? Because we've already bought him for a decent amount of money. So that's another reason why it's the right choice, really. Yeah. But XTRA, I'm one of the few that never rated him. I don't think he's got a very good. I don't think he's a very intelligent footballer. I think he runs around a lot, and he looks like he's a very busy player, snapping around at everyone's heels. But I don't think he's an Arteta type player where you need to have the intelligence to understand how to play in an Arteta team. Yeah, what I was saying about earlier about like the Ajax type of total football, whereby you need to be know what to do and when. With regards to if one player drops deep, you drop. You go ahead. If you cover all the rest of your teammates. I don't think he's got that type of tactical nous. Also,
I think we all agree with Winston there, don't we? We all agree with Winston there.
He's too emotional. It pissed me off when he keeps crying on the pitch.
I heard about
you need to have. You need to be mentally tough. And I just don't think he's ever been suited to playing in the Premier League. For me, he's not got the stature that we need. And he just gets bounced off the ball far too easily. And I think people going on about how Matteo Guendouzi was running around like a headless chicken, and he was. But I think the same about Torreira a lot of the time as well. I don't think he's a very. So I'm not going to miss him, and I think he's always been going on about I'm homesick. I just don't want to go back to Italy.
And
that really annoys me. Excuse me, because even if it's coming from his agent, he could easily tell his agent, "Look, can you just stop talking about me going back to Italy, please? I'm happy at Arsenal." That never happens. If you ain't committed to Arsenal, then just bugger off then, mate. I'll just go back. And the only thing I'm disappointed about is if we only get like an 8 million loan fee and then the money next summer. We need the money now, so that's annoying. But hopefully the owners might see that the money's coming in and sort of just give us the money to borrow until next summer. If you know what I mean, but. I don't know. I would just wish we could have got a better deal for him. That was all. But I'm not sad to see him go. I don't think he's ever been suited to an Arsenal player as an Arsenal player.
Rich, make a quick point. Sorry, mate. With Torreira, it's I remember when I first saw him play. We was linked with him during the last World Cup, and I remember seeing him play against Portugal in the last 16. I thought this guy is outstanding. I mean, obviously he plays in a different system for Uruguay. Yeah. And I thought if we're linked with him, I'll be very happy. But if you fast forward to us getting Unai Emery didn't want Torreira. He wanted Nzonzi, he wanted Banega, and he wanted Fabinho. That was on his wish list. He got Torreira, and even when he did play him, he played him as a 10. So
I know. Yeah, they knew he didn't Hazard.
Yeah. So the homesick thing, like I said, this has been rumbling on for a very, very, very long time. So it's best for both parties. Make the deal happen.
It's never seemed happy at Arsenal, and I'm sorry, but for me, that says everything to me. If you don't want to be here, you shouldn't be here. And that's that is exactly what Arteta's been trying to instill, isn't it? In the players. So I never took to him because of that, really. And it's always been the same. So yes, he had a good few games, and he'll always be remembered for that great goal against Spurs. But no, sorry, mate, you've never done it for me. So
yeah. I mean, it's a shame. I think it's a little bit of a shame because he did at the beginning. He looked really good, didn't he? The first maybe 4 or 5 games he played, he looked brilliant, and then. It's like Melvin said, everyone seemed to suss him out. He was easy to push off the ball, and suddenly his influence just disintegrated completely, didn't it? And whether that was partly because Emery didn't want him, so he didn't play to his strengths maybe a little bit, I don't know. But it has never worked out, has it? And I agree with Andrew. We need to sell him rather than loan him out, I think, if we can, to get the money in. If we're going to get rid of him, get rid of him and sell him and get the money in. And then with the Martinez style, with the Torreira money, 1 or 2 others that still might go, we might then have the money coming in to buy the player that we really want, or certainly one of the players that we really want.
I'm not sure.
If we don't sell
I'm
him,
not sure whether is the Torino, because I know Fiorentina was going to be a loan initially and then buy next summer, but I don't know whether the Torino one is. Is the Torino one might be just a straightforward purchase. I'm not sure.
The issue with a lot of the Italian clubs are with the exception of probably Juventus, most of them are skin.
Oh, I know. Oh, absolutely.
It's ridiculous.
I know. But I haven't heard whether the Torino one, because the Torino manager was his manager at Sampdoria, isn't it?
That's right.
It's the same guy.
Right.
So I know that they would desperately want him. So I don't know whether that's a loan to buy or not. I'm not sure.
Well, let's hope it isn't, because let's hope we can actually get the money in for him, because I think for us, it's important, isn't it? If we're going to be able to afford the players that we need, then we need to get as much money in as we can. And the only way we're going to do it is to sell the players as opposed to loaning them out. I mean, if Rob Holding's going on loan, that doesn't really help us. If XTRA goes on loan, that doesn't really help us. And we just need to... I know we've got a different system now to deal with the transfers. Let's hope that they've got the right plan in place to sort this out properly, so we do get the money that we need and we can move forward with the players that we want. Otherwise, we're going to miss out possibly on the one or two players that would make a massive difference to the team, and it would be a shame if that's simply down to the fact that we can't sell these players for what we need to sell them for. And that's not necessarily down to the current people in charge of it, more to the regime previously that got us in this situation. Let's hope that the current people in charge can actually sort it out and get us out of the problem with it. That would be great. And I mean, there's a point Winter just made actually about Guendouzi as well. Why is anyone coming in for Guendouzi? He's another player that we could get money for. We could get money for him as well, and we need to get him off the books. He's not going to play like XTRA. The two of them are sitting there, having cakes on a Saturday rather than playing for us. You know what I mean? And we need to sort it out. We need to get the money.
Rich, the problem with Guendouzi? Sorry, Andrew, mate. Go on.
You go first. I want to come in on Guendouzi though, but yeah. I
think the problem with Guendouzi, and this is no secret. Even before we bought him, I know you guys are probably familiar with Adam White from Get French Football News, and he said about Guendouzi's attitude, even when he was at Lorient in the whatever division it was in France, his attitude stunk then, and it's been numerous occasions where this has cropped up again. He's like I said, he's an Adrian Rabiot part 2. So that's why nobody doesn't want him. People keep telling me about it. Go on, sorry, mate.
It started at 16 at PSG. He was so arrogant at PSG. He thought he should be starting then. And he was going on. It was giving all the back chats that would have made the stars at PSG, saying he's better than them. And the problem is, right, I am actually pretty gutted about Guendouzi, because when he was playing under Unai Emery, and I've said this before, so I think I said it last week on your show, Richard. So apologies for repeating myself, but it does annoy me, because when he was under Unai Emery playing every week, you can see there's a raw talent there, but he was not being coached under Unai Emery at all, and he was just doing what the hell he wanted on the pitch. And I was really, really looking forward to him working under Arteta. And there's no better place for him to be at the moment than being coached by Mikel Arteta. I think he could make him into he's got the stature. He's got the potential ability. He's big and tall enough. If he could put a few, bit more muscle on it, he could be another Patrick Vieira type midfield enforcer, in my opinion. I think he's got the skills to do that. But he's going to end up being another Mario Balotelli, completely failing to fulfil his potential. Last time I heard, Mario Balotelli was on trial at a 3rd division Italian club. And how many years ago was it? He went to Manchester City. It was only about 6-7 years ago, maybe. I don't know. Somewhere around that. And look at he was supposed to be one of the best strikers in the world at the time. And the same thing is going to happen to Guendouzi, because of his stupidity. He's got such a good opportunity here, and he's going to throw it away.
Well, I think he has thrown it away, if we're honest, because I can't see him playing for us again, actually. But anyway, we'll see. Go on, Melvin. What were you going to add?
I'm going to say that if you're going to be arrogant, it's not great to be an arrogant footballer. But if you are going to be arrogant, you've got to have the skill set to go with it. And at the moment, he hasn't got it. So for me, it's a no-go for me with him. Yeah.
But we're stuck with him. I don't think we're going to get any offers for him at the moment. Unless potentially, I think the best we could ever hope for is for him to go out on loan somewhere, which is going to do us no favours whatsoever. Because wherever he goes on loan, he's going to get an even worse reputation there, because he's going to do the same things over and over again. So
somebody in the Premier League would want to take a risk on him, though. Well, like, you know, a sort of a mid-table Premier League team, he could do a job. He's proved he can play in the Premier League. I mean, you know, he's not the greatest midfield player in the world, but he's like you said, he's got potential, and I feel that there'd be plenty of Premier League clubs he could do a job for. I can't understand why someone has at least come in for him. And
I think you're right. You're dead right, Richard. There should be a mid-table team who should come in for him, and that's why I'm surprised he hasn't got the Spurs.
He would be the sort of person though that would think it's
Spurs, though, isn't they?
Thing is, it's like I get sick to the back teeth of it comes up all the time. Why don't we loan Ozil? Why don't we loan Ozil and pay half his wages? Because, I mean, I get sick of saying the same thing over and over and over again because Ozil would not agree to it. Because Ozil will say no, and he's going to stay put. Now, I can see Guendouzi being something, a similar sort of attitude, whereby he will think going to a mid to lower league Premier League team will be beneath him, and he will just say no. I'm going to fight for my place. Blah 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 blah. He will see it as beneath him because he's so arrogant in the wrong way. You know, I'm not saying it for definite, but I could just see that happening quite easily with Guendouzi and just refusing to go to a lower Premier League team.
But you see that attitude, if you like, is potentially costing us the opportunity to get new players in, isn't it? Because you know, keep everybody and buy the players that we need. We need to get rid of people, don't we? It's quite obvious that there's a lot of players that have hardly played under Arteta. I mean, obviously Guendouzi's one, Sokratis is another one. Obviously, Ozil's not hardly played. He's not played at all since lockdown. So, you know, these are people that we need to move on. And the problem is getting people to take them, it seems, doesn't it, with some of them? You know,
we actually have to. We have to reduce our squad by 2 foreign players because of the quota as well. Yeah. So we've got a bit of pressure there. But I saw a strong link that I can't remember which team it was in Germany now that are making a 10 million offer for Kolasinac. And if we can get 10 million for Kolasinac, absolutely rip their arm off.
Did you read about
that'd be amazing.
That included his house as well. His house is worth 5 million. But I tell you something, as a club, if we bite the bullet, which we hopefully we will do, and sell players for less than perhaps we're worth to get the money in and do the sums correctly, I'll tell you something. Listen to this. I'll tell you something. If we get this OR, who's 22 years old, in the next 3 or 4 years, we hardly have to spend any money. Yeah, the back 4 are very young, very young. The goalkeeper can go on for another 5-6 years easy. You've got this 22-year-old hopefully coming in midfield. Right? Yeah. I know we've got a Aubameyang in 2-3 years' time, won't be there, but you've got Martinelli coming through, so you can. That's for me. It's not quite like for position-wise. It is.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and you've got the other youngsters we've got in the team. I tell you something. Where have we got to spend a lot of money, unforeseenly, in the next 3 years? I think that we could actually, all of a sudden, be a club that we you know what? Just let it all roll on. Let it all roll. We don't have to make these big sales and big buys. We just slowly pick one player a season that we need, spend the money on him, and the wheels will keep moving. So I'm very, very confident. If we bite the bullet, get rid of the rubbish, as I've said it before, if you keep the poor players, though you don't intend to, they will play for you at some stage.
This is the only problem, getting rid of them because of the salaries. And
very difficult.
Do you know, can I make one more point as well about Lacazette, if I may?
Yeah, go on, yeah.
I found out some interesting information that apparently we've got to, if we sell Lacazette, we've got a 35% fee we need to pay back to Lyon. 35%.
That wouldn't surprise me. Lyon must have put something in there.
Lyon buy a sell-on clause for 35%. Wow. So that I mean, I didn't know that before. That is a big.
Hold on a minute. Are you sure?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was on what we make on him. I can understand. That's what.
No. So if we sell him for 40 million, we've got to give 35% of that 40 million back to Lyon. So,
another great bit of signing up. Well done, boys.
The point I was going to make as well is, I don't think we'd replace him anyway, because I've always thought that because of the role that he plays in the team, he's not playing as a number 9. He hasn't been for months. He's playing in the hole, behind the where the striker will play, and he has been for ages. And I think that Willian, when we initially got Willian, I thought that he's going to take over from the Lacazette position with Sol Lacazette, and because he will play in the same area of the pitch that Lacazette's been playing, but he's a specialist in that role, so he would do it a lot better than Lacazette is. Lacazette's working his socks off and doing as hard as he can, but he would never be a specialist in that false 9 position. So I think that we wouldn't have to replace him. But also, I think people are underrating Eddie, because I think he's a really, really good finisher. And, again, he's not quite ready to play every single week. But he showed for England the other day his calmness in front of goal. He's a born finisher, and he's a proper penalty box number 9, which is what we really do need. So longer term, in another season or so, I think he's going to be ready to go. I really do. I think he's underrated, Eddie.
I think I'll just come with Eddie quickly. I probably want to see what he does this season, because I still want to. He's still young. What type of striker is he? Is he box to box? Is he running behind? I still need to see. I'm not going to sing the praises for him yet. He's done well for under 21s. I'll take that on board, but I want to see what he does sort of for this season. But Melvin made a good point earlier about the recruitment at Arsenal and the spending, because it literally is. And I'm not talking about league titles here. Just to make that clear. But it's a couple of players, i.e., for example, Partey and Jose Mayor. If just to say if we get those two, for example, you can be more than a bit positive, to be honest with you, because we've got the right head coach, but we would potentially be getting 2 players that we don't have at Arsenal that will play in the pockets as a number 10, goals and assists, and then we've got the physicality of a Partey, which we don't have. Hence the reason why I was crying that we got someone like Decore, but it is what it is. But for me, it literally is a couple of players for people to sort of sit up and take notice and think, you know what, this Arsenal team's looking a bit tasty here. They've addressed in the right areas. They've actually, for once in their lifetime during a season, in terms of a summer window, addressed the spine of the team, which we haven't addressed for a very, very long time. Like I said to you before, with Gabriel, for example, obviously we didn't know a lot about him. He's still young, he's still raw, had a good season in Liga and playing in the 2, but he excites me, and I think physically he's a big unit as well. Physically, I thought, particularly in the first half against Fulham, just going a bit of a tangent, but physically he dealt well with Camara. There was 2 chances in that game where
Camara's a unit as well.
Yeah, he's a unit. Yeah, he's quick. He don't get a lot of goals, but he's quick and he's a unit. But he dealt with him on a couple of occasions physically. I thought, we've got someone who's imposing and physical presence, and it's a couple of players away though, guys. Couple of players.
Do you know what? If we do get these 2 players, it is a big if.
Yeah, big if.
But I will definitely. I don't care what anyone says. I would put us down as possible title challengers.
Yeah, I would,
because of Mikel Arteta, and we would have a squad to cope.
That's the key thing you said.
He is again. Arteta is still underrated. He's just such a good quality guy. I don't put anything past him. I think they would be utterly transformational if we got both of them. Our party,
absolutely, 100%.
I wouldn't put anything past us, and I could see us keeping pace with Man City and Liverpool, no problem. And it still goes unnoticed. And I don't know. I've said it a few times on different podcasts, but Liverpool aren't the same team since in 2020. They've lost a lot of games. They've won 7 out. I saw the stat earlier. But anyway, before lockdown, they lost 4 out of the last 6. They lost how many after lockdown as well? They're not looking as cohesive. They're not as good as they used to be.
Going to be
I don't think. I see Man City going big still before the end of the transfer window. I see them winning the league this year. But
Yeah.
we've already seen Arteta be able to outcoach Pep. In the semi-final, Pep had no answers to what we were doing. You know, you could see Pep was so pissed off about losing to him, but he had no answers to what we were. He was. He kept looking around, saying he was talking to himself, wasn't he? Forgetting that Arteta ain't behind him no more, pulling the strings. But I'm being, seriously though, we've already seen in a short space of time the difference he makes with players, and the fact that he can outcoach Klopp, he can outcoach Pep. And if we did get those two players, I wouldn't be surprised if we go all the way this year. Maybe fall short this year, but next year I could see us seriously mounting a title challenge. And I'm not even scared to say that, and I don't care who says what. You know, anyone can sort of say what they like to me, but that's what I believe. I genuinely believe I've got some.
I agree with you. I agree with you, definitely. I mean, Mel, would you jump in here about Nketiah earlier?
Sorry?
Yeah.
Yeah, what I was going to say was if we do think it's right to sell Lacazette, what about if, as a deep line centre forward, like Lacazette has been playing, Pepe plays in that position?
Yeah.
They have said that.
Pepe could. Pepe and Willian could quite easily just rotate and swap positions, and it'll be a nightmare for defenders.
That would
be a nightmare for defenders.
Because they can't afford to jump in on Pepe like they do when he plays wide. They give away a free kick, big deal on the wing. He's playing just outside the area. They don't want to give away free kicks against us.
And do you know what about Eddie as well? He is an Arteta type of player, 100%, because he does what he's told. Yeah. He's such a hard worker as well, with regards to the closing down. He is so coachable, and that's why Arteta loves him. And you can tell that a million miles away that he's got a lot of faith in the guy. And also, Ian Wright's been coaching him and taking him under his wing for the last 2 or 3 years, and he could. The exact type of striker that he is. I know that you said that earlier, Albert. What kind of guy is he? He's a penalty box striker. He's just finisher, born finisher, but he's a really hard worker as well. And the way that Arteta wants us to press from the front, he will do that for 90 minutes, no problem. He's got all the energy and enthusiasm, and he's desperate to succeed for Arsenal, and that's why I've got a lot of faith in the guy.
Yeah, you see, I was passing on from, sorry, Richard, what Andrew's talking about, Arteta. You know what it is with Mikel Arteta? And I think people are very, very aware how good the potentially and how good this guy is. Because all you have to do is talk to rival football fans. They're not stupid. They know deep down, whether they're shitting it or they know. You can. I feel it with the mates that I know that support other football clubs. They know deep down they can't do the whole Wenger thing and we want Wenger to stay and all that. No, that them times have gone now, and they can see it now. When they're a bit, they might not admit it to you guys or like your people who support other clubs, but they know, mate. They're thinking, you know what, this guy's serious. He's not one to be messed around with, and they know it, mate. They know it, and like I said, it's a couple of signings just to back this guy, man. Arteta, seriously.
Yeah, 100%. We'll lose him otherwise. And what I'm wondering is, and I'm going to tweet the Ornicle after this show. You know, obviously with he's got this new title because he's not been the coach since he's been here. They notice very quickly that he's got so much more to offer the club. So he's the team manager now. I hope. And I don't know whether this is the case, but I hope that with that, he got a new contract and hopefully they extended it at the same time. Because seriously, Pep Guardiola is not going to be at Man City for much longer. No. I can tell you that now. I think he might be off to New York City, you know, because the City group. I reckon he might be off there personally. But they will be after Arteta. No problem. No worries about that at all. You know, and even a club like Barcelona might be after him because he's already being noticed around Europe. No question. So I just hope that when he got this new job, title, and I hope he got a new contract at the same time and to tie him down for even longer. But I don't know that.
Yeah,
I don't agree with that.
In a contract that he can never ever leave the club ever. Just put that in, so he's got no choice. Basically, we just padlock him to the gate so he can't leave.
Yeah, because Rich, I said to you on another, I think it's on Ryan's podcast show. I said to you, I can't remember what game it was after I was talking, and I said that don't be surprised because this guy is an articulate, intelligent guy. He's not stupid. Don't be surprised if you turn on your phone one day and you see something from BT Sport or Sky Sport flashed up saying that Arteta's left, because you need to back this guy, otherwise he will walk. And I said that towards the end of last season. Andrew, you're right, spot on. That now we've got more time in the job. He's still relatively new, but people are watching this guy and they're thinking, you know what? Like you said, Guardiola's not going to be around forever. There will be jobs available. There's always jobs available for managers. Football works like that. But
I mean, Winston's the same thing there, isn't it? He's right.
Yeah, spot on, 100%.
Yeah. Man City are. You can tell they're already gutted that they've lost him, and they've not been quite the same team since he left.
No.
So I think they'll be straight in for him as soon as Pep. I won't be surprised if they're already trying to tap him up. But one thing that I am confident about is that everything he says about. Well, this is what I mean. I was just going to say, one thing I'm confident about is that he is straight up. He tells the truth. Even Aubameyang said that in this video with Ian Wright and that when he was talking about that. He is straight up. He is honest, and I firmly believe that he's absolutely in love with Arsenal, and he will do everything he can to take us back to the very pinnacle of European football. And I don't think he would just walk out, but we definitely need to back his. We need to back his ambition.
Yeah, 100%. Of course we do.
Well, you've got to think this guy watched us play a week before he signed for us. We were useless against Man City. Yeah, absolutely. You think the guy's got something in his soul about us, because otherwise, why on earth would anyone want to manage the Arsenal as it was?
Yeah,
it was hopeless.
Yeah.
Not only that, it says on your thing, the only way is Arsenal. The only way was up from there, though, wasn't it? So any manager coming in with Arsenal, all I can do is improve them because they're that bad. And maybe, I mean, I think he is an Arsenal man, though, isn't he? And he dreamed of having the Arsenal job. He said it, didn't he? So I think he came to Arsenal because he wants to be manager of Arsenal, and that's what it comes down to. And as long as the club back with what he wants, I think he'll stay for as long as he needs to stay to get us where he wants to take us, which is winning the big trophies again, isn't it? Getting us back in the Champions League, first of all, winning the Premier League, and then going on to win the Champions League. That's his ambition for Arsenal. And I can see him, if the club back him, I can see us doing that. Because he's got the ability.
That is so much more important, Richard, than us giving him another contract. Yeah. Because if he doesn't want to be here, he won't be here.
Yeah.
No. Right. And if another club comes knocking, they'll come knocking, and that'll be it. If you give him what he wants, and he's got his heart in this club, which I believe he has, then I don't think you have to give him another contract. Not to save money, just to make the point. Yeah. We give him show him the respect, give him what he wants, let him go with it, and I think you won't have to give him another contract to time down. Because sometimes you give these managers, not him, you sometimes give these managers and players fantastic contracts. Look what happens.
You've got to protect. This guy is the most important thing about Arsenal at the moment, in my mind, Arteta. So I read an interview when he actually signed for Arsenal from Everton. He said that even when he was at a young guy at La Masia at Barcelona, he actually, when he knew he wasn't going to actually make it at Barcelona, the club he wanted to come to at that point was Arsenal, because they were the most closely resembled team in playing style and philosophy as Barcelona. And he couldn't come straight to Arsenal for one reason or another, but he wanted to get over to the UK. And his whole plan all along when he left Barcelona was to one day eventually get to Arsenal. And this is going back to obviously when he was a player. So I do firmly believe he loves the club, and he will do anything, to make it successful again. But at the end of the day, money talks. And if he said to Willian that about this 3-year plan to win the Champions League, which has convinced Willian to come over. That's not bullshit or anything. He believes that. He is an elite guy with an elite mentality.
Yeah.
That is what he wants to achieve. But if it gets to maybe even next summer, and we still haven't got the players that he wants that can take us to that next level, he's still only human, and he could quite easily be tempted away with someone that will back his ambition. No matter how much he loves the club, it's a modern day football society we live in, and is there such a thing as long-term loyalty anymore? Really, I don't know.
No.
But I believe what he says. I believe what he says now. But if we don't, like I say, if we don't sort of match his ambition personally as a club, then it's going to be a different story.
Yeah, I mean, people are laughing that he said he wants to. We can win the Champions League in 3 years. They're laughing. I would have laughed at him when he might have said we could win the FA Cup this season.
Yeah.
What was the chances of that, right?
Yeah.
Was it before the start of the season? We was 40-1 to win 40-1 to win the Premier League. We beat Fulham. It's down to 25-1.
I thought there was 200-1. I saw at one point. I'm absolutely gutted that I didn't put a quid on that. But there was when that Willian story broke out about this 3-year plan to win the Champions League. There was I don't know, I can't remember, the fan of another club just mocking it and saying, making a joke. And I said, I couldn't help myself. I started, well, this is the difference between having an elite mentality and just being a normal footballer or whatever, normal coach. You have to have that elite mentality and say, I want to go into every single match, every single competition I'm going to. You have to go into it to win. Yeah. And it's the only way to actually achieve your goals and to get better all the time. Do you think Roger Federer in his prime, do you think he went into every tournament thinking he was going to win it? Of course he did, because he's absolutely at the top of his game. He's an elite guy. And I think when Arteta has got this elite mentality and he firmly believes what he's saying. And, he would do everything he can. I remember that when he was living alone, I think, when he first moved down here, and his walls were plastered with cuttings and diagrams and tactics and all this sort of stuff. And I said, well, he's got this obsessive disorder where he's like a serial killer, where he's got all pictures of all his victims all over the wall and all that sort of stuff, because he's so single-minded. But yeah, he is totally devoted to achieving greatness. This is the guy's mentality, and that's what I love about him. But everything he said to Willian, I firmly believe that is what he believes that we can do, achieve to win the Champions League in 3 years' time. So if we can get this hour and party, I've got no doubts that we might not win it, but I think we'll give it a damn good go this year already. If we can get those two, it'd be transformational.
But isn't it? I mean. Sorry, Richard. Isn't it important for me? It's not nearly as important, but nearly there. That we're all behind the team. We're all behind the players. We're all behind the club. And if we don't win the league in it, which I don't think we will, but we might do. But if we don't, I'm so happy about the way the club's going, momentum-wise. That I've supported Arsenal for just a couple of years, and there's been times where we've been absolutely. Once you come to November, we know we're not going to win the league, and yet I love going to every game. It's not all. Listen, we all love to win, but sometimes you've got to put a sprinkling of something else on it, and that's what we've got at the moment. We've got a sprinkling of magic, and it's really good feel factor about this club, which I haven't felt personally about 10 or 15 years.
No, I feel like a kid again, to be perfectly honest. Like at the beginning of this season, I can't remember a season where I felt more excited about how we are progressing since I was a little kid, and going through the 89 team after, because I've been, like I say, I was all the way through the 80s, and we were dog shit in the 80s. We were awful.
That was a good day.
Yeah, I know exactly. And when it got to the 89, and I was sort of about 15, 16 years old. I was really excited then about all the homegrown players coming through. And when we were showing that we were actually challenging for the title, I was on cloud nine. I was really excited. And then the only other feeling I had since then was like when Wenger took over and we started seeing how we were starting to develop and play. Again, absolutely over the moon. I never thought I'd see Arsenal play football like that. And we were awesome, to watch. But since then, since like the early 2000s, we've been very, very up and down, haven't we? And this season I feel more excited than I've done in the last couple of decades because of I can just see what's happening behind the scenes and the changes that he's making, and like I say, all the backroom staff and all that sort of stuff. It's just brilliant.
We're on the up now. You think we've been on the way down probably for 15 years, slowly getting down and down and down. And that's been where we've been going. And now, a bit like the COVID cases, we're on the way up again. And it's that kind of that travel journey that we're on. And that's why we're excited, because we can see now that we're actually going to be moving forward as to where we've been for the last 10 years. And that's exciting, isn't it? Because we've had to watch us drop down from the invincible team, slowly getting further and further away from where we want to be. And now we can see the light there that we are actually heading back in that direction. And it's not going to happen overnight. I mean, I agree. If we get them two players, we could win the league this year. I think it's going to be a lot more of a tighter league. But even if we don't, it doesn't matter, because we can see that we're going in the right direction. And even we know now, I certainly feel as well, I know you guys do, the next 3 or 4 seasons are going to be a lot better than the last 3 or 4.
Yeah, 100%.
We just want to be a challenger again, don't we? We just want to be really challenging and going into games really feeling that we can win. We want
coming back on the way up. That's what it's all about for me.
Yeah, we want teams to fear us again.
Yeah. And also, the last 4 or 5 years, we've been the butt of a lot of jokes.
Yeah,
I've never known that before. We were like people making up jokes about us, and the problem was, I don't mean this as a joke, we had no defence. What they were saying was probably true. And you to sit there think, you know what, I'd like to get back at these, but what am I going to say? There's nothing to say. And even when it must be horrible for I haven't been away for a long time, but listening to people when they come out the ground away, when we've been slaughtered by a lower team, saying we want Wenger to stay, things like that, that was heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. And that is where we got to. If I was the director of Arsenal at that time, I used to hear that, I'd have said, hold on, that's enough now. I don't forget about the home fans jeering. This is even worse, in my opinion. The away supporters of a very low club taking the mickey. That is something that the Arsenal shouldn't have done to them.
Yeah. No, we're one of the best teams in the world. We used to win a lot of games in the tunnel before we even set foot on the pitch, because teams were scared of playing us. And I want us to get back to that sort of situation where we are one of the best teams and teams fear. It's like us over the last few seasons. Whenever we've played Liverpool or Man City, we know that we're going to lose already, don't we? We say, I've got Man City next week. Who we got after that? We might get a win there. We conceded defeat before the match. So I want other teams to feel like that when they come to Arsenal. I want all our opponents to think, we've got Arsenal next week, but we ain't going to get nothing there. That's what we should. Every team should feel like that about playing Arsenal.
Those days are coming. In the next year or two, that's where we'll be. Mm. That's what's exciting for me. This season's almost like a free hit, isn't it? Because we're going to be better than last year. We're going to be better than the year before. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And if we finish top 4, if we win the league, or if we do something brilliant, fantastic. But if we don't, it doesn't matter, because we know next season's going to be even better. The season after that is going to potentially be even better than that. And, it won't take us long until we are, certainly temporarily, because everything only lasts for a short period of time, but we're back where we want us to be, where we've been sort of, where we've dropped down from, really, and we're just on our way back. And that, to me, that's what I like about it. And of course, with Aubameyang signing his contract as well, he's going to be a big part of that growth, isn't he, as we move forward, helping the club move forward. I think it was important that we signed him on this deal, and I don't care how much money he's getting. I'd give him everything that we've possibly got because he's that important for us to keep him. If we'd lost him now, everything that we've been trying to build, Arteta building his team around him, would have been thrown out the window. That was massively important. So that was probably the best signing that we could make this summer anyway. And now we're in a great position. We've got him for 3 years at least, which is going to be, 3 years. You're looking at 100 goals probably from him over the next 3 years, roughly, maybe more even, and we can now build, Arteta can now build it, that team he wants around.
Do you know the best thing about the Aubameyang ring signing as well? When you actually listen to his chat with Ian Wright and everything, and he said the reason he signed was Arteta. And it was during the lockdown, and he was, supposed to be doing their homework and all that, which is fantastic as well, by the way. But he said at that point when he had that conversation and he persuaded him, Arteta had only been with the club for 3 months.
Yeah.
If you remember that part of the conversation he had with Ian Wright, 3 months, and he made that difference. That says it all about the quality of the man. The quality of Arteta,
and Aubameyang would have left. There's no doubt.
Yeah, I know, absolutely, 100%. And he turned it around in 3 months after looking like relegation candidates, which we were at that. But we were only going, which you couldn't buy a win, could we? And in 3 months, he had persuaded a player, one of the best strikers in world football, that his future still lies at Arsenal, and that's incredible.
Yeah, that's to me that's the best news we've had all summer. That he signed. I mean, we kind of knew it was going to happen, but to actually have it confirmed and so to hear the interview as well, it's great to get an understanding as to why he signed it. He hasn't just signed it for the money. Yes, I'm not saying that's not important, but he signed it because he wants to be part of this. He wants to make a legacy at the club, and he wants to be part of this new kind of thing with Arteta, and that's great to hear, isn't it? And hopefully, Arteta persuade a few other players to come and join us as well. I mean,
all the players are happy. You can see all the players are happy, aren't they?
And also, what people don't mention, and we've had a big dig at them over the years, but the owners have had to put the money up. He doesn't just tick a box. They've actually physically got to go, you know what, we're backing you. We're going to back the manager. You want to keep it's going to cost us a lot more, but we're going to back him. Financially, it may not be a lot of sense, but we know where you're coming from, how important this guy is. We're going to push the boat out, and they have done. So people keep knocking them, and they should have been knocked. Don't get me wrong, the owners should have been knocked. But at the moment, they're doing the right things, and so
absolutely. Since they took over 100%, they've actually done a good job. I think they've got a lot of bad press, but since they got the full ownership, which wasn't that long ago, they have done a lot of good stuff. And what would they need to do now? Because if we can't get these players out of the club, all these players we know we need to sell, Mustafi, Kolasinac, Socrates, etc., etc. If we haven't got enough time to get rid of them in the window, it's so important. If they can just say, right, Stan Kroenke said, right, well, you can have the 100 million to go and buy these 2 players, but I want every single penny back. Once you've sold these players, because we could do it in January or whatever, and we need that money back. We need to make some sales. We know that. So if you will sell those players or sell some players, if not those ones, someone else, but want that 100 million back. But here it is up front, so you can go and get them. Even that, I wouldn't mind. I would not mind that, because that would at least show that. Because the Swiss Ramble put out another thread the other day, and Stan Kroenke still hasn't put a single penny into the club.
About 5 years, isn't it? Yeah, over 5 years.
Yeah, not one penny. But I still can't knock them apart from. Because they're making the changes now, like that Tim Lewis guy is another great appointment to the board, because he's going to keep a close eye on everything that we're doing. Getting rid of Raul, I was so overwhelmed. That came out of the blue, and I've been banging on about Raul being the worst thing at the club for ages, and I was absolutely delighted when that happened. But they're starting to actually, because their biggest problem was not keeping a close eye on what was going on in the club. that they were just letting things go and letting Raul just run riot and sit back with his feet up, smoking a big fat cigar and pocketing loads of money out of the club without doing bugger all. But finally, they're getting the house in order, and we look like we've got a good setup now. But if we can't sell these players in order to raise the funds for those 2 players that we need, it would just be nice if they could just say, right, here it is up front, and I want it back as soon as you can get some player sales to give me the money back. That'd be
Why don't
great.
we just set up a GoFundMe page and just do it ourselves?
I'll tell you what.
We could probably raise the money, if we put a GoFundMe page on social media. There's so many Arsenal fans around the world that probably donate to it. We could probably raise the money to buy both of them players and have enough for a pint of beer afterwards.
Yeah, I know it's a good idea.
It's a good idea.
If not, if we don't quite make it, then we'll just split the money between us. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm very happy with that. Yeah, go on.
We can go on holiday. Or we can't go on holiday, can we? We can't.
Have one big house party. Yeah,
we just have to stay at home on our own. That's all we would have to do. Just sort of moving on. Going on to this weekend coming up. There's a few potentially good games. Just do a few quick predictions. Just on a few of the games. We did it last week as well. We start with Man United's first game at home to Crystal Palace. What do we think about that, Melvin? What's your prediction for that Man United Crystal Palace?
I think they only get 1 penalty, United.
In each half. One in each half.
Yeah, well, I think
one
United will
penalty
be
a game.
You've got to fancy United to win 3-0. I'll fancy them 3-0.
3-0, okay. Albert, what about yourself for that one?
Yeah, Melvin, same here, mate. I was going for Man United to 3-0. I can't see Palace scoring. The problem with Palace, you can't score goals.
No.
They're never going to go there and score. So, 3-0 to Man United.
Albert, great minds think alike. Don't forget that, all right?
Of course, no.
Have you got over 3 as well, have you?
Huh?
It's a clean sweep. I was exactly still the same, 3-0.
3-0 as well. Okay, fair enough then. I actually don't think Man United are that good. I think they'll win. I think it might be 1-0, actually. I think they might scrape it with a penalty, probably.
But, yeah.
I think it might be a bit closer. I don't think Palace are a bad side. They just can't score goals, can they? They did win that whole season as well, I think, didn't they? So, I don't think it'll be as easy as that. I think Man United will probably just win. Probably 1-0 with a penalty. The next game, if we look at it, should be a good game. Southampton against Tottenham. Neither team have got a point in the league after their first game. And of course, Southampton got knocked out of their League Cup as well the other night on penalty. Yeah. So this could be an interesting game. What do you think about that one, Melvin? Southampton Spurs?
1-0.
Oh, 1-0. Yeah. That seems pretty reasonable. Albert, what about yourself for that one?
You know what? If it wasn't for the recent events of transfer activity, Tottenham might get a little bit of a boost. I actually would have gone for Southampton, but I've actually gone for Spurs to win 2-1.
Oh, Spurs
disappointed in you, Albert. Disappointed in you.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good, is it, predicting Spurs to win? Surely you're not going to do the same, Andrew, are you? Surely not.
6-0 Southampton, move on.
Danny Ings,
as well. Southampton, actually, they lost last week to Palace, but I thought they played quite well. I can see them beating Spurs. I mean, Spurs scraped through that Europa League side tonight, didn't they? Yeah. When they only had 9 men. So I think Southampton will win, actually. I'm the only one who seems, apart from obviously Andrew, I think Southampton will win maybe 1 or 2-0, actually.
I think Southampton are a very, very good team with a very good manager, actually. They started the bad start, obviously, last weekend, but I think they are. I think they're definitely dark horses for. I definitely think they should be top 10. But that manager is a really, really good manager. I think he got them playing brilliantly at the end of last season. Yeah, to come back from that 9-0 defeat, that shows a hell of a lot of character. That does really good.
And they play some good stuff. Yeah, I quite like watching Southampton. Actually, I think they play good football.
And they've got one of the best kits in the league. I love their kit.
They have, yeah. And they've got one of the best logos as well. Actually,
have a look at it. It's a gorgeous kit.
So
really nice.
I'll be definitely backing them again on Saturday. I think Danny Ings will get a goal against Tottenham. So
you better get one. He's in my dream team.
Yeah, he's in mine as well. So
go on, Ingsy.
Hope he gets a hat-trick. That'd be nice. But the next game is probably the biggest game of the weekend, if you want. It's Chelsea against Liverpool. a massive early season game, isn't it? At Stamford Bridge, that one is. What do you think of that one, Melvin? That looks like it's going to be a difficult one to call, actually.
It is. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go 2-0 to Liverpool.
Oh, okay.
I know we're thinking that Liverpool haven't clicked yet, and they haven't had a good second half of the season by their standards. But I think this is where they step up. I think they're going to win 2-0. And I don't think Chelsea, as good as they are, I don't rate their defence. I think Liverpool got a couple of goals in them.
Okay, well, fair enough. Yeah, that's a possibility. Albert, what do you think on that one, Chelsea-Liverpool?
I've actually gone for Chelsea to sneak it 2-1. I said to you before, because when Chelsea were linked with Lewis Dunk about a couple of weeks ago, and if that was true, I actually thought that would have been their smartest piece of business, actually, because he's a very, very underrated and very, very good defender, despite what the Arsenal fan base think. But I think he's a good defender. But I think Chelsea might sneak it 2-1.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that seems very good as well. Andrew, what about you for that one?
It's going to be goals.
Yeah,
it's going to be goals. There's absolutely no way on earth that Chelsea are going to. I mean, their defence is absolutely shocking. I see them scoring a couple. I see Liverpool will win 4-2.
Wow.
Bloody hell.
Wow.
Oh, man, you know what? Because Andrew said that, I'm actually going to put a fiver aside and go to the bookies. That's the score, mate. Why not?
Yeah, that's a mad one, isn't it? I mean,
13 goals in their first 2 games in the matches.
They've got
13 goals.
They've got.
Took them till Christmas.
I mean, I said this last week about Chelsea. They're going to win games because they've got some incredible quality on the pitch now, but they'll do that despite Frank Lampard. Frank Lampard, for me, is not the guy to manage a team of stars like that and get the best out of them. I just don't see it. But they will continue to do well because of the quality of the players. But their defence is shocking. I cannot believe that they're letting that Tomori go. And, he's far better than what they've got, and they're letting him go. And they just can't defend. So I think they're going to let in far too many goals. And I can see them scoring a couple though as well. So I can't see anything other than something similar to that 4-2.
I'm actually going to agree with
Chelsea. Sorry.
I'm agreeing with this and going 2-2. I think that's Liverpool. Chelsea-Liverpool will be 2-2, I think, as well. I just think that seems... I think a draw, and I think there'll be goals, as Andrew says. I think both teams have got goals in them, and at the moment, both teams can't defend. So I think a 2-2 draw seems like a good shout for that one. So I'm going to go with that. Although I like Chelsea to win, if I'm honest, just because.
Yeah, you make a good point about Chelsea, though. I mentioned it. They got Champions League football last season, but they conceded 54 goals.
Yeah,
that's madness.
Yeah,
I know. And bringing in Thiago he was one of the best He was one of the best defenders in the world, obviously, but that was about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to have a shot coming into the. He's still a quality player, but I mean, the pace of the Premier League is twice that of the Liga. I can see him struggling, unfortunately.
So I agree. Fat Frank, yeah. Right, the last game that we all have a prediction on. Actually, I think this is going to be a really good game. Actually, 2 teams to watch: Wolves against Manchester City. Manchester City's first game, obviously, they didn't play last weekend. So, Melvin, what are your predictions for Wolves against Man City?
Wolves, I think Man City will win 2-1. They're a good team, Wolves, but I just think City might have too much for them. Okay, yeah, that's reasonable. Albert, what about yourself for that one, Wolves, Man City?
I'm going to go for... I love Jimenez, by the way. Top.
Yeah, quality.
Inside the box, outside the box. I'm going to go for a score draw, 2-2.
A Desmond.
Some more goals at
Desmond.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a good weekend by the look of it. Andrew, what do you think of that for Wolves, Man City? 6-4 or something?
This is actually quite a tough one, you know.
Very tough.
I'm really torn actually, because Wolves are a really good quality team, and like I say, Jimenez is a great player. I just, if he wasn't 29, he'd be, I don't know what.
I'd have my Arsenal 100%.
Yeah, it's just a bit too. People were talking about 60 million, about 29. No chance. I think that Manchester City have literally got to win. They have got to win because they cannot afford to even at this stage of the season, drop behind Liverpool. But I can still see, like last season, when Wolves just done Man City 2-0. So
Yeah.
do you know what? I think I actually agree with you, Albert. I think it might be I think there might be a draw. I think all the headlines will be already that Liverpool are champions, and it'd be stupid after the first game of the season because they initially dropped points. Yeah. But I think the pressure is on Man City a lot. So actually, no, I'm going to change your mind. I'm going to go for 2-1 Man City. I think they might just squeeze it, but it's going to be tight. 2-1 Man City.
Okay. I mean, Wolves actually did the double over Man City last season.
They did, yeah.
And I think they've got a number on them. Plus this season as well, without being in Europe, I think being in the Europa League last year, all them games that kind of hampered Wolves a little bit. Yeah. This year they haven't got that. So I actually think Wolves are going to have a really good season. They're going to be one of the teams to watch. And I actually think they'll beat Man City. I think the fact that they've played a couple of games already, Wolves, with the League Cup as well, I actually think that they're going to be a lot more sharper and ready for it more than Man City maybe are going to be a little bit behind because having not played. I think Wolves will win. I think Wolves will win 2-1. And I think Jimenez will score because he's in my fantasy team as well. So
Man City though, it's very, very valuable to have had this extra week on the training pitch as well. I think I don't think you can beat a competitive game. Wolves have had competitive football, and I think that's far more important than an extra week of training. And I think Wolves are a lot sharper and ready for match action, as it were, as opposed to just, it's unfortunate in a sense. It's unfortunate for two Manchester clubs they didn't kick off the same week because I do feel as though they're going to have a catching up to do, and I think they're not going to be as ready. I think as the teams that they're playing who have already had a couple of games, and I think that for that reason, I think Wolves will win. Plus, they do seem to have a number on Man City, don't they, from last season? And they couldn't deal with Traore, could they? Man City last year in both games. So I think Traore is in my fantasy team as well. So if he wants to bang a couple of goals in again, just because they're in your fantasy team, it doesn't actually mean that they're always going to win, though, mate.
I need them to because I had a bit of a poor week. So I need them to make up for this week. Otherwise, they're getting dropped and binned off and sold. So
I think that the fact that they did the double over Man City last season, though, as well, it's just that extra little bit of incentive for Man City to win. But I think that having that extra week, when we don't forget, like we normally have 3 months off in the summer to actually work on things on the training ground and that. And I think that extra week would have done the world of good. I wish, I bet Mikel Arteta wishes you could have had that extra week with the players on the training pitch. And I think they're going to be so pumped up, Man City, that they're so determined to win it this year and win it back from Liverpool. I think it's just going to push them over. But I wouldn't be surprised if Wolves did win because I do really rate them as well. But I think Man City might just edge it just because of that determination to get revenge and start the season well.
Okay, well, we'll see. Right, finally then, if we obviously there's an even bigger game than all of those put together on Saturday evening at 8:00, and of course we're playing the once mighty Hammers that aren't so mighty anymore. So what are we thinking about that then, Melvin? What do you reckon on this one? Arsenal, West Ham.
I'm going for a 3-0 win, mate. 3-0. I just think we've got again too much from.
Yeah, that seems fairly reasonable. Albert, what about you on that one? What do you think we'll do?
I've gone for an Arsenal 3-1 win.
3-1.
Yeah.
Andrew, you sticking with what you said at the beginning? Was it 4-1 or something you said?
4-0.
4-0.
4-0. Yeah.
Well, you got it right last week. You said 3-0 for Fulham, didn't you, last week? So
yeah, I'm actually very tempted to say 5, but I don't know if we've got the ruthlessness at the moment quite there. But so I'll stick for 4. I wouldn't be even surprised if it's 4-0 at half time.
Wow. Okay. Well,
West Ham really are about.
I do like that.
I actually there was this guy at work, and his brother-in-law is a West Ham fan as well. And when we were chatting at work, he said, "You are easily going to get a minimum of 4 goals against us at the weekend. We are that bad." That was a West Ham fan. So, I can't see anything. I think we're going to have a really good win at the weekend and go into the Liverpool game properly on a high.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I mean, I obviously think we'll win. I think it would be a massive shock if we don't beat West Ham, wouldn't it? It would be. Both since the start of the season. I mean, I don't think it's going to be quite as easy as a 5-4, 5-0. I do think West Ham will score. I think they've got potentially some dangerous players, haven't they? Antonio, Felipe Anderson, a few others who can cause us problems. I think they'll score, but I think we'll win probably 3-1. I kind of agree with Albert there. I think maybe 3-1. Could be 4-1 maybe. I'm going for 3-1 just because I don't know. I'm not sure. We haven't really, we don't, under Arteta, especially at home games when teams are going to sit back, which West Ham will, we've struggled, haven't we? The only home win that we had, a comfortable home win under Arteta, really was the Norwich game. And of course, Norwich were already pretty much down by then and they just opened up, didn't they? This is early in the season. West Ham need to be tighter than they were last week. They need to try and get a result really to bounce back. So I don't think they're going to be open. I think we're going to have to work hard for the goals, and I think it's going to be hard to score. But I think we've got too much quality for them in the end. Plus, as well, David Moyes never beaten Arsenal ever in his managerial career ever. He's never ever beaten us. So let's hope that.
It's not specifically a lack of quality. It's not specifically a lack of quality with West Ham. They've got some good players, but the morale is literally on the floor. It's non-existent. But even the players are backlashing against the club, and bloody David Moyes being told he's going to be sacked, and all this sort of stuff. That's the problem. They've got no impetus to go out there and fight for the badge at the moment. I just think they're in disarray, and that's the problem.
I think.
It is. Sometimes clubs do produce something when they're up against it, don't they? Backs against the wall, and they have got enough quality players to cause us some problems in the game. I do think we'll win, but I just don't. I'll be surprised if it's that comfortable. I'd like it to be, because if we're 4-0 up at half time, we can have a cup of tea and sit back and relax in the second half. That would be great. Like last week was a little bit like that when we got the second goal. But I'll take a scrappy 1-0 like we did just before lockdown. Will do, as long as we win. We need to keep the momentum going. If we go into Liverpool game with 2 wins. Especially if they've got a very tough game away at Chelsea, they might win it, but they might not. And if we're ahead of them going into that game, last year we went to Anfield, we were the only 2 teams with 2 wins out of 2. But this year we could potentially go in there with a lead on them. You never know. If Chelsea can get a result against them, that would be good, wouldn't it? So, I think we'll win. But I'd like it to be 5 or 6-0, but I just don't think it will be. It'll be a bit closer than that. And I think have to work
you'll have to give me a nickname if it comes off. Like not a Mystic Meg, but something along those lines.
Well, yeah. That'd be 2 in a row you've got there. That'd be unbelievable.
The thing is, are you tempted? I don't know if you guys have got Aubameyang in your team. Are you tempted early in this season to use your triple captain?
Yeah, I am. Just signed in his new contract as well. It could be his first hat trick. Well, apart from the one in Europe, his first Premier League hat trick.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he's in my team and he's my captain, but I don't think I'm triple captain. I did it last year against Burnley, second game of the season. Yeah. And he only scored 1, and I think he got booked as well, so it cost me loads of points. So, I'm not going to do it yet. I'm going to wait until we're playing Fulham at home or something. I think he might score a few goals against them later in the season. Thanks for that, James. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So I mean that's pretty much. I think we pretty much covered everything anyway. So obviously, thanks to you guys for coming on tonight and chatting. It's been a great show. Melvin, where can people find you on social media? Assuming you want them to find you, of course.
No, it's just Melvin Marks. Anyways, just on that, only on Twitter and Facebook under Melvin Marks, but on Twitter, that is what it is.
Right. Okay.
Just put old sod, and you probably get me as well. I don't know.
Melvin, I already found you ages ago, mate. It's fine.
Thanks for coming on. Well, it's been a pleasure chatting to you as always.
Thank you very much.
Where can people find you on social media? Obviously on YouTube as well.
Yeah. Firstly, thanks Rich for having me on, mate. It's been a pleasure. I find it to meet Melvs and to talk with Andrew as well, mate. Knowledgeable Gooners. Yeah, you can find me on AlbertJTV, talk about Arsenal topics, football-related issues as well, past and present. Check out the content. And my Twitter handle's on the page as well.
Yeah, brilliant. It's a great channel as well.
Cheers, mate.
I saw your show this afternoon, actually. That was really good, actually. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Cheers.
I was busy at the time I was watching it. I couldn't get on to make any comments on it. Finally, Andrew, again, thanks for coming on again. It's been a pleasure.
Very welcome.
Where can people find you obviously on YouTube as well and social media?
Yeah, well, when I'm not asleep, I'd normally have a show every week on From Dial Square to Where. Anyone watching this,
set your alarm.
Anyone watching this that was lining up to watch me yesterday, I do sincerely apologise. It won't happen again. I have to take some Pro Plus or some Speed or something next time. But on Twitter it's at From Dial Square. But yeah, Albert, you're a great channel. You're doing a great job there, mate. I really enjoy that as well. So,
thank you.
And obviously yourself, Richard. And I really enjoy coming on. It's a great show tonight. I really enjoy speaking to all of you.
No, it's been good. Good. Great guys, man.
Oh, I've really enjoyed it as well. It's great to have you all on. It's great to, at the moment, it's great chatting about Arsenal because it's nice and positive. And, I want to try to say, I'm calling it a positive Arsenal podcast. And that's how I want it to try and stay for as long as we can. If we can make Christmas still being positive, that would be good, wouldn't it? That would make it. I can't remember last time.
Put the positive in inverted commas.
I might have to start doing it, in January.
Just put like a little asterisk at the bottom saying dependent on results.
Yeah. I mean, if we're out of all the cups and we're like mid-table in the league, maybe we can. At the moment, let's enjoy it while we can because we've suffered enough, haven't we, the last few years? And 100%. I think we went over a lot of stuff tonight, basically saying how kind of positive we are feeling about it already with everything that's going on. So I'm sure that we'll remain positive for a while yet. Anyway, hopefully all the way through with a bit of luck.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thanks everybody.
Don't fear anyone anymore. I don't fear going to Anfield, and I've got none of that anymore. It's all gone. I can think we could beat anyone on our day. So yeah, brilliant.
I think we go Anfield and win, but we'll talk about that maybe next week as well. So I say thanks everyone for watching. If you like what I'm doing on the channel, please subscribe. Please give this video the thumbs up. Thanks to everyone in the chat as well. Loads of people: James, Winston, obviously Ryan, Russ, loads of other people that I can't remember them all now. Go up. DWTT, he's always on quite a lot, isn't he? With on Albert's channel as well. Yeah,
Ryan, score right.
What we're doing. So thanks to everyone in the comments there, everything as well, and watching. I hope you've enjoyed it all. I say I'll be back again over the weekend with the stuff about the game, obviously against West Ham. Hopefully, a few goals and stuff to talk about. Hopefully, as many as Andrew said, it'd be nice. But I'll say I'll take a 1-0 if it means we win and stay top of the league. Which will be great. So thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for you guys for joining me. And as always, before we go, say the same thing. Come on, you Gunners!
Come on, you Gunners!
Come on, you Gunners!
Come on!
Arteta in his first season becomes the first player to not only captain, but now manage Arsenal to an FA Cup victory.
I want to tell you what I talk to the lads about every day. What it means to be part of our family.
You listening, bro? Yeah, man. You listening?
A strong family.
That's mine.
First, there is the non-negotiables. Respect, humility, belief. And it's okay to get angry, to raise our voices, as long as it comes from the right place. And even though family can hurt us like nobody else, remember, they are the ones who raise us up. When people come to our house, try to divide us because they know our family and what our shirt means.
What else for life? What else for life?
Let them know we can't be divided.
Best striker in the league, come on! Come on!
And it will take all of us together, because we know where we belong. So So when the challenges come, you will tell them.
This is family.
This is family.
This is family.
This is family.
This is Arsenal.